With just the most basic tools and their bare hands, they're trying to retrieve the bodies of victims trapped underneath the debris. A 4-story building here in Beit Lahiya, northern Gaza, torn apart by an Israeli strike. They keep finding more and more corpses. Many are now just lumps of flesh. Close to 100 Palestinians are said to have been killed in this single attack, including around 20 children. Many of the dead, displaced people from one extended family.
My sister, my brothers and sisters, my father-in-law and my son, all dead. For God's sake, who do I have left? What more do they want? Let me live, but who shall I live for? What wrong have we committed? What is our sin, my God?
The bodies are piled up to be taken away. There are no ambulances running here. Carts that would have once carried fruit and vegetables, now ferrying the dead to be buried. Israel has said this strike is under review and has cast doubt on the reported death toll. Its renewed assault on northern Gaza has killed hundreds in recent weeks, though, the UN describing the situation as unbearable.
Only 5 or 6 people survived. Where are the Muslims? Where are the Arabs? Where is the world? Fear God. North Gaza is being completely annihilated.
Hamas gunmen do still have a presence in northern Gaza. This a video they released yesterday as they targeted an Israeli tank. Israel's assault on Gaza has been one of the most ferocious of modern times. But will it ever be able to eliminate these guerrilla fighters, as its leaders promise? Today, the army announced the deaths of 4 more of its soldiers in Jabalia. In Gaza City, a cameraman working with us captures the panicked chaos following yet another Israeli strike. They try, but no one can console this young man. He has no words, just screams. Huddled together on a hospital floor, unbearable grief and no end in sight.
Sikandar Kamani reporting there. Well, it is this place, the United States, that provides the bulk of funds for UNRWA, the UN agency that has provided essential support for Palestinian refugees for almost 80 years. Well, yesterday, the Israeli Knesset voted to effectively outlaw UNRWA, which the Israeli government has described as a pro-Hamas agency. The US has joined the international condemnation over that decision, amid warnings that Gaza's entire humanitarian system will now collapse. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent, Porrick O'Brien, has this report.
This morning, school children in traditional Palestinian dress celebrated the olive harvest. This little grove is different, though. It's in the garden of an UNRWA-funded school in the concrete refugee camp of Shuafat, East Jerusalem. The vote in the Knesset yesterday, designed to ultimately dismantle UNRWA here, could in theory at least lead to this place changing hands or closing. UNRWA underpins the health and education of almost 6 million eligible Palestinian refugees across multiple countries and in Gaza, the West Bank and East Jerusalem, providing services that Israel is legally obliged to but doesn't, to people like Hanan Matur. All her children and grandchildren went to school here. We met after her appointment in an UNRWA-run clinic opposite the school.
We were raised on UNRWA. Our house is just behind here. I get my monthly medicine from it. Our fathers, my children, 10 of them. I raised them up on it and in the school of UNRWA. For us, it's like our souls, the air we breathe.
At UNRWA's HQ in East Jerusalem, they're processing what the vote, which becomes law in 90 days, means for them. It's been condemned by many countries, including Israel's allies, Britain and the US.
We have been mandated as UNRWA since 1949 to provide certain services that do, the maximum to ensure the well-being of Palestine refugees, education,
things that
healthcare.
Israel is legally obliged to be doing.
This is the thing. So I mean, although I can't second guess what might happen, I mean that is the big question, and it's the same in Gaza. The international humanitarian operation. I mean, we are the backbone of the international operation. You remove the backbone from a body, the body just collapses. So then the question is, well, what would replace us?
Or, to put it another way, who would provide the tents, food, water, healthcare and education to the millions of Gazans already on the brink, relying on UNRWA? It's the biggest UN agency operating in the Strip.
This is catastrophic and condemns all the refugees in the Gaza Strip to destruction and death. Foreign countries and all humanitarian organisations must stand together with the Palestinian people against this decision.
The Israeli right have been trying to get rid of UNRWA for a long time. The terrible events of October the 7th turbocharged that project with accusations that staff members were involved, triggering attacks on their HQ in Jerusalem.
We do hear rhetoric from within, even including at senior levels in the Israeli establishment, saying the entire organisation is infiltrated or something like that. But statistically, 30,000 people in UNRWA, 13,000 of them working in Gaza, and then we have 9 potential cases of participation on the 7th of October. That should speak for itself.
So what's really behind this vote? Hanan Matur was 11 when her family were forced to leave their homes in the centre of Israel.
Why do you think the Israelis want to dismantle UNRWA?
To eliminate the Palestinian cause and to finish the refugees' rights.
UNRWA holds the records of every Palestine refugee and thus legitimises their refugee status and their claims to land their families once owned in Israel. Those records allow access to the services UNRWA provides. So for Hanan, this is the most important slip of paper in the world.
Paul O'Brien reporting. Well, I'm joined now from Oslo by Jan Egeland from the Norwegian Refugee Council. He's a former UN Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief. Welcome back on the programme, Jan Egeland. How devastating will this be for the Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank? Okay, we're just trying to establish that line to Jan Egeland. Jan Egeland, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello,
sorry.
Jan Egeland? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, and
the question was, how devastating will this be
for
for Gaza?
It will paralyze the humanitarian work of all organizations that are there. UNRWA is not only providing the bulk of the relief to the long-suffering Palestinian civilians in Gaza and the West Bank, they also provide the logistics, the warehouses, the schools, the health posts for the rest of us. So by banning the relief of UNRWA, they also sabotage the other relief work, which would mean mass death of Palestinian children. This is an extreme measure by extremists in the Knesset and the Israeli cabinet.
Although it's interesting, actually, that it got fairly widespread support in the Knesset, which surprised quite a few people. Can anyone, is there any agency, perhaps even your own, that can replace that essential work that UNRWA has been doing for so long?
No, not at all. No UN agency, no Red Cross or Red Crescent operation, none of us, the non-governmental international organizations that are there. We all do important work, but UNRWA was created in 1949 to provide for the Palestinians. They built the education system, they built the health system, they built the water sanitation, etc. And of course, by General Assembly resolution, first Israel was created by one resolution. The consequence of that was armed conflict that displaced hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. Then comes the second resolution that creates UNRWA as the relief agency for the Palestinians. And now the product of the first resolution is killing the second resolution. It is intolerable, and therefore I'm glad to see that Norway today announced that they will go to the General Assembly of the UN and ask that all of this goes to the International Court of Justice to get it rescinded.
I'm going to ask you about America in a minute, but briefly on the Israeli accusation that UNRWA had become a sort of pro-Hamas organization. What do you say to that accusation?
Now, of course, it's absolute nonsense. It is true that perhaps 9 out of 13,000 betrayed all our ideals on the 7th of October and participated in the terror and the horrors. 9 out of 13,000. I mean, but then to paralyze the work of the entire organization that are doing excellent humanitarian work is absolutely crazy. I mean, by that logic, you should ban the Israeli Defense Forces where numerous soldiers are taking selfies of themselves as they break humanitarian law.
Okay. Just very briefly, finally, what could the US, where I am now, do in order to reverse that decision from the Knesset?
Well, the only one that can really influence is the US, followed by Germany and the UK, and the three of them must now grow a spine and tell Israel that we cannot continue to provide the arms and the economic assistance to you, because this is not self-defense. This is destroying the neighboring populations. You have to stop it. If not, we will sanction you.
Okay. Jan Egeland, thank you very much indeed.